McConnell recently released a new ad for his campaign, and it features his wife, Elaine Chao. They specifically address the issue of violence against women and the Violence Against Women Act. Did you know that Mitch McConnell really likes to protect women? At least that's what his wife says. Take a look.
Have you ever noticed how some liberals feel entitled to speak on behalf of all women, as if every woman agrees with Barack Obama? Alison Lundergan Grimes' gender-based attacks are desperate and false.
Mitch McConnell co-sponsored the original Violence Against Women Act. He's always supported its purpose. Mitch voted for even stronger protections than Obama's agenda will allow.
Allison, supporting the Obama agenda isn't pro-woman. It's anti-Kentucky.
I'm Mitch McConnell, and I approve this message.
Now, unsurprisingly, there was a lot of misleading information there. And to give you an example, the one piece of information that was true was, yes, initially, Mitch McConnell did co-sponsor the Violence Against Women Act in 1991. Now, the Violence Against Women Act is, of course, something that's supposed to help women defend themselves legally if they are victims of domestic violence. And the 1991 version of it wasn't voted on until 1993, and then in 1993 he was no longer the co-sponsor of it. So
right, and it was also changed from 91 to 93.
Yes.
So it was why he sponsored it. It was so bad it never came to a vote.
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
it
was weak?
It was weak.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in 1993 they strengthened it, and what happened? When the act came up for a vote in 1993, McConnell was no longer a co-sponsor, and he voted against the final legislation. So let me give you some more information from Talking Points memo. They did a really good job analyzing this and kind of looking at his voting record. They said in 2012, McConnell voted against a Senate-approved bipartisan version of the Violence Against Women Act, which stalled in the House. In 2013, a similar bill to renew and expand the Violence Against Women Act passed in the Senate with 78 votes. McConnell was one of the 22 senators to vote against it. That version was eventually taken up and passed by the Republican-controlled House and signed into law. Now, some might argue, oh, well, maybe McConnell didn't want to pass it because it just wasn't strong enough. No, the reason why he voted against it in 2012 and the reason why the majority of Republicans voted against it in 2012 was because it expanded protections for Native American women, women in same-sex marriages, and also immigrants. So if you were an undocumented immigrant here in the United States and you were a victim of domestic violence, Mitch McConnell basically says, fuck you, deal with it yourself. We don't want to protect you.
He created a scaled-down version of the exact same bill that did pass, tried to get it passed, and as Ana just said, eliminating gays, immigrants, and Native Americans in certain cases.
What would be the rationale for doing that? I mean, I can see gays because they don't like gays because he's Christian and Jesus doesn't like them.
Right.
But what about other people? Like just because they're Native Americans, they get to get shit beat out of them because they're women? That doesn't.
Well, it's not all. It wasn't all Native Americans. It was Native Americans living on their own sovereign lands where McConnell, for some reason, doesn't think violence happens, or if it happens, well, it's your house, not mine.
So just to expand on that a little bit, the issue with domestic violence and rape in these reservations or in these sovereign areas within the United States is a huge problem, because oftentimes women will be raped, women will be victims of violence, but since some politicians and some authorities feel that we don't have any jurisdiction there, we just kind of let it fall by the wayside.
Right.
We don't deal with it. So the argument that, hey, we don't have jurisdiction over that area, I just feel like it's such a weak argument. We do. We have the ability to change the way things work. We have the ability to protect these women, but he doesn't want to do it. And you're right about...
I'm not going to do that with the engines.
I'm pretty sure we don't have the rule of law over Syria, but he was all for bombing the shit out of them.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. That's a great point. And when it comes to, all right, when it comes to lesbian couples, what's your justification for not wanting to protect them? Right?
Jesus doesn't like them.
What's your justification for not wanting to protect undocumented immigrants? Just because they're undocumented, you let people beat the shit out of them? That's okay with you? But he really loves women, by the way. His wife says so.
Yeah.
His wife.
And the person who sponsored this legislation from the beginning, actually dating way back before 91, was Joe Biden. And stayed with it all the way when he was senator from Delaware, all the way. This was his piece of legislation, his signature piece of legislation. And he did it without Mitch McConnell.